The slap echoed through the room, louder than I believed possible. My mother-in-law's hand struck my face with a sharp crack, leaving my cheek burning and my dignity shattered. Before I could even react, my sister-in-law leaned forward, sneered, and spat at my feet, her eyes filled with cruelty. I stood frozen, not because I was weak, but because I had promised myself I would never create chaos in my husband's family. I had repeated it endlessly, believing patience, kindness, and silence would eventually win their approval. But as I stood there shaking, my face burning with shame, I realized silence would never change them. They wanted me destroyed. My mother-in-law's voice cut through the air. "You are nothing, do you understand? My son deserves better than you, someone who brings pride, not disgrace." Shame. That word had followed me since the day I married into this family. I wasn't from their privileged world. My parents were simple, hard-working people, and that alone made me unworthy in their eyes. My sister-in-law laughed coldly. "Look at her, standing there like a lost puppy, pathetic. Do you think we'll ever accept you? You'll never be one of us." Her words weren't new, but the sound that followed was. The slow creak of the front door opening filled the room. Light poured in from the hallway, and everything shifted. My mother-in-law's face went pale. My sister-in-law froze mid-smile, because standing in the doorway was the man they feared most, my father. They had never truly known him. They only knew his reputation. Quiet, a retired army officer, respected, feared when provoked. They had mistaken his silence for weakness. As he stepped forward, his eyes sharp as steel, their mistake became clear. "What," he asked calmly, "did you just do to my daughter?" The silence was suffocating. My mother-in-law stammered. "We were only—" "Only what?" my father interrupted. "Only hitting her? Only spitting on her? In my home, even my enemies' daughters are treated with respect, and here you disgrace yourselves by abusing your son's wife." Fear replaced arrogance. My father didn't need to shout. My husband rushed downstairs, alarmed by the noise. He froze when he saw my tear-streaked face and the mark on my cheek. His eyes moved between his mother, his sister, my father, and me. "What happened?" he whispered. "They hit her," my father said, "and you allowed it." Those words hurt more than the slap. My husband crumbled. "I didn't know. "You chose not to know," my father replied. "A man's first duty is to protect his wife. If he cannot do that, he has no right to call himself a husband." Tears filled my eyes. These were the words I had been too afraid to say. I had waited for my husband to defend me. He never did. He always said, "They'll change, just give it time." That time had ended. My mother-in-law snapped, "You have no right to speak to us like this in our house." "When you touched my daughter," my father said, "you gave me every right." The silence afterwards was heavy. My sister-in-law muttered something, unable to meet his gaze. My mother-in-law looked away, her strength fading. Then my father turned to me, his voice soft. "My daughter, you don't have to live like this. You have a home where you are loved and respected. You can leave with me now." My husband turned pale and grabbed my hand. "Please don't go. I'll fix this, I promise. I'll stand up for you. Just don't leave." I searched his eyes, but years of silence outweighed his sudden promise. My father extended his hand, calm and steady. In that moment, I chose my dignity. I stepped forward and faced my husband. "If you mean it, prove it, right now, not someday." My husband shook. His mother hissed. His sister shook her head. But he straightened. "If you ever touch her again," he said, his voice trembling but firm, "you will lose me. She is my wife. She deserves respect." Gasps filled the room. My mother-in-law burned with rage. My sister-in-law stormed away. But everything had changed. For the first time, my husband chose me. My father nodded once. That was enough. The battles didn't end that day, but the power they once held over me was gone. They knew there was a line they could never cross again, and so did I. I learned that silence is not strength when it steals your self-respect. I learned that sometimes love must be challenged, and I learned that behind me stood a father who would walk through any door to remind me I was never alone. The turning point wasn't the slap or the spit. It was the moment the door opened and light poured in, carrying the strength I had forgotten. Because their true fear was never my father. It was that I was no longer afraid of them.